Whether you are learning a new skill or playing a new game, there's a time it takes for you to get the basics down. And when you get the basics down, things go pretty well, all things considered. But there's always a way to maybe amplify or elevate what you're doing to make it better, more efficient, or just ways to improve the way you do something. And Hell Let Loose, this thinking is obviously the same, being a video game. Hell Let Loose has a lot of little things you can do to either improve your gameplay or at least make it harder for the enemy team to operate in many different facets of the game. And since the last iteration of this video kind of went pretty well, I want to do more of it. So here's another 5 ways to improve your gameplay in Hell Let Loose. Now, just some disclaimers, this will mostly be covering the infantry classes of the game. If you want stuff for armor, recon, or something like that, leave them in the comments below. And these little tips and tricks, that's what they are. Just tips and tricks to maybe help you out on the battlefield, hurt the enemy some more, and just at least do the little things right, because that's what matters in a game like Hell Let Loose. This first one I want to talk about is an upgrade to one of my previous ones I've talked about before. So, in the original video I talked about building barbed wire around nodes to protect them from, say, recon teams. But a lot of people reiterated that they would just drive trucks into the barbed wire and counter the strategy. Well, I have one to counter that strategy, building barricades. So, yes, building the barricades does take a lot longer, but you will still have the supplies after you build the barbed wire. So by building the barbed wire and the barricades, you effectively shut down any way that recon teams can destroy your nodes by using trucks or any other method. They effectively block out every little way, whether it's the corners, the sides of the barbed wire where you have the barricades, everywhere. You can't even jump over the barbed wire. It's impossible. And it's also impossible to actually put OPs or outposts inside the wire, so you can't even cheese the system, at least in the ways I tried it. So that completely nullifies any way of a truck getting in. So that way, if you do this, it completely negates anything that they do to bring a truck all the way from their headquarters, all the way most likely to your HQ where you should have built your nodes. Now, again, this isn't counterable to satchel charges, but at that point, if someone is going to try and run from a garrison or anything like that to destroy your nodes, then you're taking someone off the front line to maybe not destroy a tank, which can also make the difference on the front line. For those who commented in the last video, I do appreciate you bringing this to my attention, because that was a slip up on my part, so I decided to correct myself a little more. And even though this strategy does take some time to implement, it effectively shuts down recon teams in every way, shape, or fashion, except for dragging someone off the front line with a satchel charge, and that's if they can even do that. So that's your revamped strategy of building barbed wire around your nodes, reinforced with level 1 barricades, in which you'll have plenty of supplies to do this. We've all probably had at least one moment where we're trying to maybe chase down a tank, or we try to put down a satchel charge and it's not exactly in the right location, but the first reaction immediately is to just get away from the satchel charge, especially if it's your own. But there's something a lot of people don't actually seem to know. And that is that if you are the person placing down a satchel charge, if you defuse it, you actually get it back. The first reaction should not be to just suddenly run away and clear the area. Defuse it so you can get it back and use it again. And what this does is, by being able to recover your own satchel instead of just abandoning it, thinking you can't get it back, is that you don't have to go find a explosive ammo supply box or a support player. You don't have to redeploy and waste a bunch of time respawning to get a new satchel charge. You can just defuse it and recover it. Now, if you did set it to the 30-second fuse, defuse it quickly, because you're not going to have a lot of time to defuse it. It takes about 10-12 seconds to defuse a satchel, so just keep that in mind. Now, another trick that I don't see used often, or a lot of people don't seem to know about, is that as the officer, you can disable your own outpost and get rid of the delay timer it is to deploy another one. So as you see there's a timer for just under 2 minutes, but I can disable my outpost and the timer that you saw before will go away. I can place a new one instantly. Now, why would you do this? It sounds pretty stupid. Well, a way you could utilize this in a situational manner is on warfare mode. Say the enemy is about to take the objective that your outpost is situated in. Now, when the enemy takes an objective in warfare mode, or really any game mode for that instance, every garrison and outpost is destroyed. So you lose everything. Now, if you just place an outpost down and the enemy takes the objective, you lose the outpost. And you have to wait essentially 2 minutes to get your outpost back. A lot can happen in 2 minutes, such as you as the officer could get killed, and then your team has no outpost, and you gotta go back to a garrison or potentially your HQ if you have no garrisons. By destroying your own outpost right when the enemy takes the objective, you get the ability to replace it and essentially go about your business as you already were. You can start attacking the objective that just got taken and, again, proceed as normal. It's just a nice little trick that is very situational, but can come in handy every now and then. Rocket launchers, just like satchels, have more than one use besides just killing tanks. When there aren't any other enemy tanks around or you have some spare rockets, rocket launchers are great tools to destroy enemy garrisons. Rocket launchers can turn what could be a very painful way to destroy a garrison into a very painless way at range. That way you don't have to run up and actually disable it, you can just fire a rocket at it, regardless of where it's at, to destroy it. Now, the only ones that you cannot destroy using rocket launchers are default garrisons on the offensive game mode if you are the attacking team. Other than that, every other garrison is fair game, including airheads, outposts, you name it. Now, this might be seeming like I'm encouraging Call of Duty-like behavior. Not necessarily. If anything, I'm just being very efficient with my rockets. I'd rather lob a rocket into a garrison and destroy it and tip the balance in my favor than run across an open field and hope that the enemy just doesn't notice me taking out their garrison. You can make the argument that taking out a garrison is more important than killing a tank in some aspects. And in most aspects, unless you're facing recon tanks, you're going to need more than one rocket to take down a tank anyway. Where you only need one to take down a garrison and completely derail the enemy's spawning ability. In Hell Let Loose, it's important not to be the next Captain Sobel. Whether you're an officer or a rifleman, it's important to know how to use your map to the best of your abilities. The Hell Let Loose map feature allows for a lot of cool little things, such as being able to ping out enemy infantry, tanks, where you want supplies, move markers, and a lot more. Now in this example, what I'm doing is I'm just simply using a simple ping to see where I'm at in comparison to another garrison south of my position. And since garrisons have to be at least 200 meters away to be formed from other garrisons, it's important to use this little feature just to make sure you're not getting too close and waste supplies that could have been used elsewhere. Now, this isn't the best example, but what I've done here is I've pinged the one garrison. I was a little bit too close, so I decided to run up north a little bit to use my guy's support supplies and build a new garrison far enough away to get a new garrison. And from here, there's 3 garrisons across the blue front line that our team as a whole can use to our advantage to assault the next objective. Now, one thing I want to include on here, just to add some more stuff about the map and how it could help you, is that certain people can see certain pings. For example, if Able Squad pings a tank, only the people in Able Squad and other officers of other squads will be able to see that ping. The squad's infantrymen or other crew members or whatever you're in will not be able to see it. So another thing you could do is ping where they have pinged so you can let your squad members know what's out there and where it's at. This is just in general will give more situational awareness to just the individual soldier. As long as the squad leader is doing their due diligence, the whole squad can improve using the map. And then they can turn around and use the map and figure out a plan of attack to maybe destroy a tank. Maybe an AT guy can go around a certain way that they will avoid an infantry presence. So it helps everyone involved. If you guys want a detailed map video, I can do that. Just leave it down in the comments and I'll see what I can get for you. One thing I want to reiterate at the end of this is that these are little tips and tricks that might help you in given scenarios. They're not meant to move the needle that much in your favor, potentially. They are just little things that might prove useful in given scenarios. There's no game-breaking hacks or something like that I want to teach to you guys, because there really isn't much of that anyway. But they're just little things that might help you, and I just want to reiterate that. And with the new influx of a lot of new players because of the Games Pass having Hell Let Loose on it now, yeah, there's a lot of new players. They might need all the help they can get. So every little tip and trick that they can learn helps a lot. And I hope those who view this video at least got something out of the video. And if you guys have more things you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. I'm all ears. But I hope you got something from it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.